Welcome to the Legit Betting Edge podcast. This is episode 1. We are back. I am Brian Benito. I'm with my partner, Scott Johnson. Scott, how are you? What's happening?
Hey, excited to be back. Excited to be betting on sports again. It's been a long, 6 months, 7 months. So hopefully things are starting to get back to normal and we can look at football and college basketball coming up and a lot of exciting times ahead.
Cool. What's your Twitter for these guys? Give out.
I'll put a banner down for us here.
Okay.
They can.
Perfect.
So on Twitter they can find me at ScojoAZ Sports. That's my Twitter handle. I post a lot of content on there. My Instagram is up. I'm not putting a lot on there yet. I will. That is at ScojoPicks. That's my Instagram handle. And my website is being worked on. I should have that up and running by the first of the month, November. And that'll be ScojoPicks.com.
Sounds good. Mine's at @my_bankroll on Twitter. I've got a couple other things going, but what I'm going to concentrate on right now is just putting some content out there, just kind of create the following and open some other channels. I know we're going to go to YouTube channel for this stuff specifically, and we're going to be spreading around the audio version of these podcasts, Spotify, iTunes, things like that, all of those different podcasting sites. We hope to build it real strong and just kind of go for a while, just kind of build a brand. And that's what we're looking to do. So we appreciate you watching. Let's jump right into it since it is football season. Football's in high gear right now. There are a couple of conferences, obviously, that haven't started in college. But let's talk about how you like to bet football, Scott.
Football is I'm probably better at college than the NFL. NFL to me is the toughest sport. To handicap, to bet on. The margins to me are they're super tight. You can win in the NFL. It takes a lot of work, but I like college. My ROI is definitely a lot higher in the college game. So I like sticking to college. I probably have a higher volume, obviously, because there's more games in college. But I also, I love, trying to beat the NFL too. I've been successful over the years, not as successful in other sports, but I think I have a lot of good handicaps and skills for the NFL. So hopefully I can pass that along to everybody and make some people some money.
Sounds good. I myself, look, I'm with you. I like the college game better just because there's more variety. There's more games. There's more ways to find advantages because in college you have discrepancies in talent levels. In the pros, most of the teams across the board have similar talent unless you're the New York Jets, right? So, of course, and coaching is a big thing in the pros as well. Adam Gase knows this. And so not to bag on the Jets because, listen, if the Jets are gonna cover a spread, I'm going to probably play them. I like to do less. To me, less is more. Even though I want more games to look at, I'll be able to find more gems in there. Generally speaking, though, I'm a less volume guy. And I like to predetermine what's going to happen before the game. I'm not a big live better. I know you like to live bet a lot.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, saw you last night in that Georgia State game.
Yeah, the second half total was 38. And if you watch that first half at all, tackling was, suggested but not done in that game. They were just going up and down the field like crazy. I did have Arkansas State minus the 3 in that game. They did end up pulling it out, but it was a back and forth game the whole time. And it looked like Arkansas State did kick a field goal there. And I thought this number is going to land right on 3. Unbelievable. But they came up with a fourth down stop there late and were able to win that game 59-52. But wow, that was fun if you love offense. And if you like defense, then hopefully you were watching the town halls or something because there was no defense being played in that game.
Right. No, yeah, on a game like that, that's a fun to watch college game. Some of them are tough to watch. I don't generally watch every game I bet. I like to look at numbers. I'll follow, just the trends and the plays within the game, and of course I'll look at highlights if I have to later if I'm going to bet a team later on. Now that kind of leads us into our second. When it comes to betting, which one you prefer, college over pro? What's the benefit to college? What's your biggest benefit in the pro game?
Well, you actually touched on it, and it's coaching. In college, I think the coaching is more predictable. In the NFL, I think there's more schemes. Every week is a brand new philosophy, and any team can win in the NFL, even the Jets. The Giants, they can come up and beat the best. The Raiders beat the Chiefs this last week. Minnesota looked horrible for a couple weeks, and then they go and give Seattle a game. So coaching, I think, is a big deal in the NFL, and why it's harder to handicap. I mean, not impossible, but harder to handicap. And in the NFL, I think it's just more. I mean, in the college football, for me, it's just more of a known 96 man roster, so injuries don't hurt them as much. And your better teams are going to be deep all the way down. If they lose one of their better players, they just got another person sliding right in. The rosters are more expanded, not as small as the NFL. You get a big injury in the NFL, and that can kill a season, kill a game, things like that. So that's why I like college football a little more predictability for me.
And I agree with you on those points. I want to add something about the NFL because these lines are so tight in the NFL, and generally they are tight. Sure, you'll get a blowout here and there, but generally because they are tight, teasers come into play. So if you're a teaser guy, you can get a 2-team 6-point teaser -120. Same as generally the same. You pay -110 obviously for a single bet, but when you tease these teams 6 points. You can generally find 2 winners a week if you do that and get yourself a bet. I'm a less is more guy. So if I'm finding one rock solid play in the NFL, then that's enough for me. That's good enough for me, and I'll watch the rest. I don't pressure myself to go overboard on the plays, especially when you got clients, you want to protect clients. You want to protect the client's bankroll because generally when it comes to clients, I'm sure we'll talk about this, they like to bet their own games, and if they use me to clean up their dirty work, then whatever, that's fine. College, again, more games, more variety, more games more often, more predictability. And, I'm sure it's happened, but generally you don't see a referee ruin a game in college because they go to the booth to check everything. In the pros, the ref can still destroy a game, and I don't like that.
Yep. I totally agree. Agree.
Okay, so cool. Let's go into Friday night's game. Tonight's games, we have a couple of college games. Let's start out. Let's break them down. Tell me what you think. Let's go with SMU Tulane first. There we go. Yeah,
SMU. This game for me, I did some studying on it. I'm probably not going to bet anything on this game. I'm still looking at one bet, still digging into the numbers there. But for SMU, they lost their best receiver, Reggie Roberson. He's out for the year. Running back TJ McDaniel's not going to play in this game. So they're going to be down a couple of their big offensive guys. But, like I was saying, the rosters are deep. SMU is just, they're going to plug a couple guys in there. This Tulane team, I watched that. They played Houston last Thursday. I watched that whole game. They got 5 turnovers on a rusty Houston team and still lost by 18. They're a very inconsistent team looking at the numbers. They haven't played 2 halves of football yet altogether. That being said, I think SMU is going to win the game, but what I'm looking at is the total in this game. The total right now, I believe, is at 65, and SMU in their last 7, the unders hit is 5-2 to the under for SMU, and in Tulane, their last 13 games that they've been a dog, 9-4 to the under. So I'm leaning to the under in this game. Have not made a bet. Don't know that that's the way I'm going to go, but if I do anything in this game, it's probably going to be on the under. I'm not a big trend guy. I know people out there like trends, but I just want to caution that I don't bet on trends. I think that's a slow death if you're betting on trends alone. I mean, can trends hit? Yeah, but trends are part of the handicap, but not the handicap. So, I gave those numbers. That's not what I'm basing it on, but I am looking with Roberson and McDaniel out for SMU. I think they might get off to a slow start here. SMU, I do eventually think they're going to run away in this game, but 65, I'm leaning the under. Haven't done anything on it yet.
And I'm going to just follow suit on that. Here's what I think. I think both teams ran out of gas last week. They ran out of gas. So, SMU barely holds on to beat Memphis. They get the field goal at the end. I had SMU at a pick 'em, so I was happy about that. But they ran out of gas in the third quarter. Were able to get a couple stops on Memphis to get a field goal, and it's 30-27 in that game. I think generally they'll score maybe the same amount. Tulane, same things. Tulane gets 5 turnovers. They still can't win the game. They run out of gas, right? 2 teams out of gas, playing each other. To me, that tells me it's look, I think it's going to be a slower game, and I don't look at trends at all. I just do the eye test. What are these teams doing? So it seems like what you're talking about, I'm not going to bet the game, but I like the under on the game since it's trending. But I'm not going to look at the trend. I'm just saying they both ran out of gas. They both got to what 31 and 30 last week. So yeah, I would tend to go under on this game if I was to bet it. I don't have a side on it. Although I would lean Tulane plus the points, but again, not a strong play. I'm just giving my opinion on the game.
Okay.
Okay, let's go to BYU and Houston. What are we looking at?
BYU and Houston. One of the things I'm looking at in this game is BYU was favored by 35 points last week over UTSA. They win that game 27-20, and now they're going to Houston, and I think the spread currently is at 5.5. So I'm looking at Houston the 30 points better than UTSA. That just seems like a huge jump. I mean, Houston is a better team, I believe, than UTSA, but that jump, and that tells me somebody knows something. It seems a little weird. It's not like BYU's going and playing a Division II team or just played a Division II team. They played UTSA and Houston. Are they similar teams? No, but talent wise, are they similar? Possibly. So I don't know. I don't like this. I'm going to probably just watch this game. I don't like it. I think BYU, usually when they play these air raid teams, they like to play, 3 linemen and drop 8. I know BYU's offensive line is a good offensive line. They're going to give Wilson a lot of time to throw the ball. I don't think Houston's going to, get to Zach Wilson, I think is his name, for BYU. So I think he'll have some time to throw. I do think BYU wins this game, but like I said, with that big of a point spread between last week and this week, with Houston and UTSA, that's just a game I'm not going to touch. I do think BYU wins the game, but a no bet for me in this game tonight.
I'm with you on the BYU winning, and I would lean BYU minus, and it's 5.5 right now. That line kind of moves up and down a little bit, but Houston blows out Tulane last week, but they dropped the ball all over the place. They turned the ball over 5 times. So. But the euphoria of winning, it was their first game because they've been waiting. You might see a little drag before they're able to kick it into another gear, Houston, for in the next game, and that's why it's a no play to me, because I need to see a couple of games usually with a team in order to bet against or for them, to kind of see where they're at. What we saw with Houston last week with what they did, blowing out Tulane in the second half. They scored 28 in the second half, if I'm not mistaken. And so it's just something where I want to take another look at Houston before I throw any bet on a game against or for Houston. So I'll side with you and just look. BYU wins the game total. I mean, the total's in the vicinity, but I don't get a real good feel for it. So it's just a talk about game and not a bet on game for me.
Yep, I agree. I'm staying away from this game. It is on TV, so I will be watching. Sure. If I pick something up, maybe I'll do something live on this game. But before the game, I'm not touching anything here.
Cool. Let's move on to Saturday. Let's talk about some of the games on Saturday. What do you got on tap? And why don't you start, and I'll jump in behind you.
So SEC, it seems like they've got some good games this week. Auburn at South Carolina. This is a game we'll be talking about later towards the end of the podcast. But for me, I like South Carolina in this game. Auburn, I think it's a down year for them. South Carolina is more of a SEC. I mean, the SEC's gone Pac-12 right now with the offense and defense. But there's a couple teams in the SEC that still play really good defense, and I think SEC and Georgia are those two teams. South Carolina and Georgia are those teams. So I like South Carolina in this game. I actually think the wrong team is favored here. So like I said, we'll be talking about this game later when we get into our picks for the week. But yeah, I think the D-line is going to dominate this game for South Carolina. Auburn struggled at Georgia, only scoring 6 points. And they struggled with Arkansas last week. And, I mean, depending on what the spike rule is, probably should have lost that game. I don't know if you saw that play where, he was trying to spike it, caught it, dropped it, picked it back up, spiked it again. So I actually don't know what that rule is, but a lot of people were talking about it. So, they struggled with Arkansas last week. So I like South Carolina in this game.
Yeah, I think Arkansas deserves to win that game last week. But look, Auburn is favored on name alone right now, I think. South Carolina is playing some pretty good offense. They hung with Florida for a little while. They covered that spread, had them in that game. Last week, they blow out Vandy. This week they're at home and they're catching 3.5. So I'll take that with you. I believe they're going to win this game also. But even if they don't, I'll still have the 3.5 points to cushion me, and I believe it's going to be probably a close game at the end. Auburn will try to come back. I think they fall short this time.
Yep. We can go to the next SEC game is Ole Miss at Arkansas. The only play for me in this game is going to be the over. And I know the total is at 75, but if you watch that, Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss gave Alabama fits. They made Alabama look like a Pac-12 defense, which is shocking that with as much talent as Alabama has, that Ole Miss was able to just run up and down the field. I mean, ultimately they did lose that game because they cannot defend at all either. And, Arkansas's offense is okay, not great, but I don't think Ole Miss can stop or are going to get any stops in this game either. So I think this is going to be up and down the field. The total in this game, 75. I know that's a high number, but I think they go by this number. Am I betting it? No, probably not. But in this game, that's what I'd be looking at as the total here. I don't have a lean either way. I watched that Ole Miss game, but I haven't seen a lot of Arkansas games, so I wouldn't bet the side on this.
I have a rule that I kind of go by where if a team in a previous game was leading most of the game and then they lost at the end and then they don't change venues, I generally will look at that team to go with them the following week. Arkansas was on the road, right? And now they're at home. So I can't go in that venue. So I can't really bet the side in this game. Did Ole Miss, Ole Miss was chasing Alabama in that game. Arkansas, are they disappointed? I can't really get a feel for this game enough to bet it. I think the total's about right. I think you might see a lot of points, but that short 1.5 point line, that's frightening, really. I mean, it's like it's an unsure -1.5 on Ole Miss because Ole Miss now they're on the road again twice in a row, and they spent all their gas on Alabama, right? And they couldn't come through. Kiffin wanted that game badly, so I really can't get a gauge on this. I'm going to lay off this game.
Yes, and then we got the actual biggest game of probably the year right now, and that is Georgia going into Alabama, and this is going to be a fun game. Again, Alabama's defense looked terrible last week against Ole Miss, but I don't think that's going to be the case this week because Georgia doesn't run that kind of offense. Their quarterback in there now, Bennett, is more of a game manager, so they're not as explosive as some of these air raid teams. So I think Alabama's going to be able to scheme better against Georgia. I mean, Georgia's talented like crazy. Their defense is phenomenal. I just think this is going to come down to Alabama's offense versus Georgia's defense, and can Georgia hang with that offense? I mean, Matt Jones throws a really good deep ball. You got Waddle and I forget the other guy's name on the outside there. Najee Harris. I think Alabama's going to be able to win this game, and not easy, but I think Alabama can cover the spread. I also like the under in this game because, like I said, Georgia's offense, I think Alabama's going to be able to scheme better against them because they're not air raid. They're more of a pro style offense, and their quarterback is more of a game manager. So I like Alabama in this game, and I like the under in this game. That's what I'm leaning.
Okay. Yeah. Well, hey, listen. Will Nick Saban be on the sideline? He has COVID, right? So any news on that?
I've not heard. I mean, they're monitoring him daily.
Could be a factor. Could be a factor in the game. Saban, his intensity's off the sideline. I mean, a crucial call, a crucial decision, something he would do, or maybe he'd be in the press box, pitching down on an intercom. Who knows? But here's what I think. I think it's a defensive battle. I think Georgia has got a good enough defense to slow Alabama way, way, way down. So I do like the under in this game also because I think Bama will also slow Georgia down. What are we talking? Low 20s? I could envision going to overtime and whoever gets the overtime. So is the 4.5 in play, or does one get 6 and the other gets 9? So it's very – it's not something that I can't really bet the side because I do see a tie game at the end where they go overtime, then anything can happen and all bets are off. So, but I do see a possibility of the total. But if it goes to overtime, then the total could get blown up too. So it's one of those games where all the best laid plans could go to hell if overtime hits. And so for that reason, it's a marquee game, generally speaking, but I'm not going to be on the game.
Yeah, and to what you're saying, I agree. I think overtime could be in play in this game. So I'm going to look at that first half under because, obviously we can't get overtime in the first half. So I'm going to look at that, see where that's at. It's probably going to be what the total's 57. So, somewhere probably between 26, 28.
Sure.
So I that might be a play for me here because I don't have the fear of overtime there. So I'll look at that first half under. But I do think this is going to be a more traditional SEC game. I think there's going to be a lot more defense. I don't think you'll be seeing people running up and down the field. That being said, it'll probably recap it on Monday and it'll be 59-58. So who the hell knows? So, but yeah, no, I like the under in this game, and I do think Alabama will find a way to win it.
Fair enough. There's a couple of small school games, but we're going to skip over that. We're going to head right into Sunday now, and let's crank it up with Cleveland at Pittsburgh. What are your thoughts, Scott?
Cleveland coming into this game, Baker Mayfield, he's got the ribs. I saw where Beckham, he's sick. They tested him for COVID. I haven't heard anything come out on there, so I don't know if this game's in jeopardy or not. I haven't heard any COVID positive tests, but I know he left with an illness. Beckham did. But I think I like Pittsburgh in this game to, basically shut that Cleveland or, slow that Cleveland running game down and put this game in the hands of Baker Mayfield. And I don't think Baker Mayfield, has the ability to beat Pittsburgh. I look for him to throw a couple picks in this game. Pittsburgh might even get, a pick six there. I like Pittsburgh in this game to cover this game, but that's probably not. This is probably not a game I'm going to bet, but that's just my thoughts on Cleveland at Pittsburgh.
Right. Well, I'll tell you this. I think this is Pittsburgh probably covers by 6 or 7. That's my thought. So, but yeah, Cleveland been playing very well, and they beat the Colts last week, destroyed the Cowboys the week before, beat the Redskins. But I think Pittsburgh's a different animal in the AFC. So, and Pittsburgh's comfortable at home. They had an extra week off a few weeks back. They're still at home. Last week they beat the Eagles, scoring going away. I think their offense is in high gear. Does that mean this is going over? I don't know that it's going to go over. I think this is a very, very tight total right here. I can see it landing on 52. I could see it landing on 49. So it's not something I'm going to play. If I was going to tease something though, which it's very possible, I'll take Pittsburgh, +2 or whatever. That's how I would play this game.
Yeah, the total, when I was looking at the total, I think this is a backdoor total covering the over, where Pittsburgh might, have a double-digit lead, and they go into a prevent, and Cleveland's able to get down there and score a late touchdown. So yeah, I think that might be a backdoor cover, but this isn't a game. Division games in the NFL are a beast. So I don't bet a lot of them, and that leads us into the LA Rams San Francisco, which is a game that I love. I think it opened at 3.5, and I bought the half point. So I've got the LA Rams -3 in this game at -120. I just think San Francisco is a mess right now. Which is a surprise because going into the year, I knew they were banged up going in, but I thought they were going to be a lot better. They lost the opening game to Arizona, then they went back east and played 2 games on the death turf in New York. But they've come back home and, lost 2 games at home to Miami, and I forget who they lost to previously, but Garoppolo doesn't look right. They just don't look like the same team to me. And this Rams team is looking really good, and I think are going to push Seattle for the division this year. So I'm not going to call this a bloodbath, but I like the Rams here. I like them by, 7 in this game. So I'm all over the Rams this week with
I don't disagree with you. Obviously San Francisco, they got 2 victories over the Jets and the Giants, and they come back, get beat by Philadelphia. Philadelphia gets their first victory, and then the Miami just comes in and blows them out. Who knows? Look, Fitzpatrick, he 1 week he performs, 1 week he doesn't. And in fact, just a quick mention of Miami, I think they blow out the Jets this week. But the same thing for San Francisco. They get blown out last week. Shanahan pulls Garoppolo. They're far off. They're not going to win this game this week. Can they cut it? Can they play them tight and show some heart first, and then maybe get a win next week? When a team falls that far off, that they're not close to a victory, and that's the way I feel about the 49ers right now. They have a lot of injuries. Their defense is really what carried them and gave them leads last year that they would hold down and nail down, and Garoppolo would do it. But he was rattled badly last week. Is he ready to come back and get a victory over the Rams? I mean, they do have confidence over the Rams. I think they beat them twice last year, but I don't think it happens this week. As far as the total, I have no idea on the total.
Yeah.
I can't gauge that at all.
All right. Yeah. No. Yeah. I would never. I'm not going anywhere near that total.
Right.
So next game is Baltimore at Philadelphia. Baltimore has looked really good, except for one game this year against Kansas City. Baltimore's always got solid defense. Their offense is good as long as they can play with a lead. I don't think they're built to come from behind. I think Lamar Jackson is a good quarterback with the lead, and that rushing attack can be dominant. If they get behind, then I worry about him being able to bring a team like that back. This game isn't a game. 8 points at Philly. I mean, Philly played their hearts out at Pittsburgh. I mean, I know they didn't win that game, but they gave it all they had there. They played as hard as they could and still fell to Pittsburgh. This probably isn't a game for me that I'm going to bet. You talk about teasers. I'm not a big teaser guy, but if I was, going to do a teaser, I might even look at your, Pittsburgh +2 and then, go Philadelphia, Philly, plus 14
yeah.
Yeah. So that might be a teaser that would, be playable for me, but individually in this game, I'd probably stay away from it.
Yeah. Here's my thought. You have the Eagles tying the Bengals, right? So they tie the Bengals. They go in San Francisco. They get a victory. They come back. It's the second of a back-to-back road in Pittsburgh. They score a bunch of points, and they do play well. They don't win the game because Pittsburgh's a superior team, but you're coming home now playing pretty well. Baltimore, on the other hand, destroyed, Cincinnati last week, and they're hitting the road. 8's too many. 8 is too many. I think you're giving too many to a team that's now righting the ship, and they're getting things right. Do they get the victory this week, Philadelphia? It's possible. I think 8 is plenty, and you're right about the teaser. That's the two Philadelphia, the two Pennsylvania teams on a teaser as a winner this week, in my mind.
Yeah, and so let's go into. Why don't you start us off here?
Well, we got
the marquee game of the game is going to be Green Bay and Tampa Bay.
Here's what I think. Look, Green Bay's been playing excellent ball. They blow out Atlanta last week in Green Bay. Tampa Bay, they stumbled in Chicago. Tom Brady forgets its 4th down. They're not playing good execution. A couple of weeks in a row, they haven't played good execution. But they're coming home, and Green Bay's hitting the road. Tom Brady versus Aaron Rodgers, man, that's a game to watch if there's any game to watch. My opinion is this. Tampa Bay is going to give Green Bay their first L of the season. That's my thought. I think Tom out-duels Aaron, and I'll say this. I think you're looking at a 27-24 game, a 3-point game, and I think that total's way too high because of the high totals. I think the public's going to bet it up. I think that game comes in at about 51 or so, and I would definitely go under, and I'm definitely looking at Tampa Bay in this game.
Yeah, this is going to be a game I watch. I know I've seen it as low as a pick. Green Bay, it looks like some money's coming in on Green Bay. Green Bay's up to 1.5. I like Green Bay. I think Devontae Adams is going to be back this week. I think Lazard's on injured or in injured reserve, so I don't think he's going to be back. But I don't think that really matters. Rodgers has just been phenomenal all year long.
Yes.
Aaron Jones has been really good. The defense, they're okay, but this is going to be a game I watch. I don't really have a feel on this game. I'm going to sit down and grab a beer and some popcorn and watch this game. I'm probably not going to do anything. If you're asking me who I root for, I'm an Aaron Rodgers fan. He's a Pac-12 guy, so I'm rooting for Green Bay in this game. But betting wise, this is not something that's going to hit my payroll because I'm going to sit there and watch. I agree with what you're saying. I mean, if I was going to bet anything, I'd probably bet the under here, but I'm staying away from this game. I'm just going to sit there and watch. And I think, is it an afternoon game? It might be an afternoon.
I believe it is. I don't know. Yes, I believe it is.
Yeah. So that'll be a fun game to watch, and for me. So I don't have it. I know it's the marquee game of the week. Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. So, but I don't have a bet on this. So
hey, listen. On a side note, each week that Aaron Rodgers performs just continues to show me that Mike McCarthy might have robbed him of another Super Bowl. I believe you see Mike McCarthy performing on the sidelines in Dallas, and you see Aaron Rodgers performing. I just think McCarthy stopped that team from getting another another ring, maybe 2. I think he stopped Brett Favre from getting another ring. I mean, honestly, it's beginning to really show with McCarthy. Just as a side note, there.
Yeah, he's got an explosive offense in Dallas, and they can't stop anybody. So I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens for my Cardinals on Monday night. So we'll see with Dalton if they can beat them. But yeah, so let's go something that we're going to do every week. On Fridays we'll make some picks. We'll keep our records. We'll post those on Twitter for everybody. But we're going to have a couple segments here. We'll have a best bet on Saturday. A best bet on Sunday, one pick Saturday, one pick, and then we'll also have a dog of the weekend that we think that has the ability to win. So why don't you go ahead and start? Who's your dog of the week?
Here's what I'm going to go back to this Baltimore-Philadelphia game. I'll be honest. I think Philadelphia is about to peak coming home. I think they're going to play a great game. I think that the Ravens they stumbled once in Kansas City, and you're right when you talk about Lamar Jackson. When he's behind, I think he gets discombobulated. They're such front runners, the Ravens. When they get behind, they really don't know how to adjust and come back. I haven't seen it yet. Now, I'm sure they'll develop that because Harbaugh is a great coach. He's a hard-nosed coach. I just think this week the Eagles peak. I think they win the game. I think they have a good chance of winning the game. I definitely love the cover at +8. I think that money line place, it's worth a little bit of a bet. If you're going to bet the Eagles, if you have a thought about betting the Eagles, I think you should put 15, 20% on the money line just in case they do get the upset. I think there's a decent chance that they will. And listen, I'd love to see it. I'd love to see the Eagles get on track. They got to get on track. The NFC East is terrible.
It is brutal. 6 games. I think 6 games is going to win that division. It's just shocking.
And make a mockery of the NFL these days. The talent levels. Yeah. So
I'm going to go to Saturday, and it's a game that we also talked about earlier. And I am playing the money line in this game, and that's South Carolina. Auburn goes into South Carolina. Auburn, I believe what you said is true. I believe they're favored on name and name alone here. I do think South Carolina is the better team. They're the better defensive team. Auburn is struggled offensively. Like I said, they only put up 6 points against Georgia. They're going to face a similar team in South Carolina, not the same team in South Carolina. They're not the same defense as Georgia. But I really like South Carolina to win this game and win it pretty easy in my mind. I mean, when I say easy, I think they're going to win by 6-7 points. But I love South Carolina in this game. I think their defensive line is going to give Auburn all kinds of trouble in this game. So I am going to take South Carolina straight up against Auburn. I'm not going to play the side. I'm not going to take the points. I'm taking the money line in this game. So that's my pick.
I like it.
So let's go to our best bets. What is your Saturday best bet, Ryan?
Well, I'm going to look at Duke, NC State. Now, I'm not going to look at a side. I know NC State's favored by 4, maybe 4.5. I'm not looking there. The total right now is 60. I'm looking for both of these teams to slow down, score less, and I'm going under 60. I like under 60 as my best bet for Duke, NC State on Saturday.
Okay,
that's off the beaten path, but yeah, that's what I love.
Yeah, I'm going to the ACC too, and it's North Carolina, Florida State. Right now, I believe North Carolina is favored by 13.5. It might even go to 14, but I think it's 13.5 right now. North Carolina went off last week against Virginia Tech, but Virginia Tech was missing 18, 19 players due to COVID, and we didn't find that out until about an hour before kickoff there. So I got burned on that game last week. Florida State played Notre Dame and played them tough. I mean, they got outclassed in that game, but Florida State at home, I know they've been bad and not great, but I think they're going to cover this game here. I do like North Carolina's offense, but I think Florida State is going to put up enough points to cover that 13.5. So my best bet on Saturday is going to be Florida State plus the 13.5.
Okay. Sounds good. Florida State's having a tough time winning games these days. And that Bobby Bowden, who had COVID, right? And no symptoms. He's in his living room probably, or at a bar or whatever. He's in his hospital bed going, dadgummit, you got to get a W. He's and let's be honest, they did have a couple of years, and I forget who's the coach at A&M right now. Who was there? He got a championship.
Jimbo
Yeah,
Fisher.
Jimbo Fisher. That's right.
Yep.
The name slipped me. But besides Jimbo Fisher's couple of years, since they fired Bobby, they haven't done much at all, and they're really lost right now. But they could get the cover this week. So good play. Let's go back to Sunday, and I'm going to give you. I'm going to go back to this Philly game. I don't know why I'm stuck on it, but I'm going to give you something else. I think I like Tampa, but I like Philly more than I like Tampa. But let's not sleep on the Houston Texans plus 3.5. So Titans played a big game. Titans are undefeated. I just think Houston now, they played a good game last week against the Jaguars, really dominated the Jaguars in every phase of the game. Jaguars are a downtrodden team. But I think they're going to come out strong, and I think they're going to play Tennessee very tight. And what I'll do is I'm going to go with a couple of things. So I'm going to go with Philly, and I'm going to go with the Texans plus 3.5. So I give you 2 plays there.
Okay, yeah, that -3 line it looks like they're just begging for money on Tennessee. That's another reason I like Houston in that game. I'm not gonna touch that game because when I saw that -3, I'm just like they're after Tennessee just destroyed Buffalo on Tuesday night. That looks like it's got public money written all over it on Tennessee. So I agree with you. Houston did look good against Jacksonville, but I am going to go to, and we've already talked to it. So my best bet Sunday, I've already placed my bet on this, and that's the Rams. I did buy the half point, put it down to -3. So I'm paying a little juice on that at -120. But I like the Rams. It's a division game, so that those games always scare me. Every time we get an interdivision game, that scares me because those teams know each other so well. I just think San Francisco is beat up, hurt. I mean, I know Kittle's there. I know they got Deebo Samuel back. Jimmy Garoppolo looked injured still to me on Sunday. He wasn't moving very well. There wasn't a lot of zip on his passes. And this Rams team has just looked really good. Their defense, Aaron Donald is just a beast. And
they're relentless right now.
Yeah, so I really like the way the Rams are playing. That defense for San Francisco is struggling too. I don't know if they're getting the safety back. What's his name? Sherman. I don't know if he's coming back. I don't know if he's out for the year. I didn't really look at that, but I know that defense, they lost a lot. So with Bosa out, I just think the Rams were.
Bosa's key. Yeah, if you can't get a pass rush on Goff, I think Goff can be rattled if you can rush him, but if you can't rush him, and Garoppolo has the jitters, you're in trouble this week. So I don't disagree with you on that. I probably won't bet that game, but I like the Rams. I definitely like the Rams in that game. But awesome. So this is let's do a little close up. This is our first episode back, Legit Betting Edge, episode number 1. Appreciate you coming back on. I like the video format that we're doing now. This is going to be awesome, by the way. And I think we're pretty good here. Any final thoughts?
No, like I said, I'm excited. The sports are back. It's been a long 7 months, and I'm hoping we get this COVID thing under control. I'm looking super forward to college basketball. Like I said, working on my website, should have that up November 1st. So look for that, scojopicks.com. Again, scrolling on the bottom, you can find me at Scojo AZ Sports on Twitter and on Instagram. I haven't been posting a lot on Instagram, but that will ramp up, and that is at Scojo Picks. That's where you can find me on Instagram. Really excited to be back, especially in this format. So, I
am too. We're going to do 3 episodes a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. This is episode 1, and we're just going to roll like that. See how that pans out. Go from there. You can find me at @my_bankroll on Twitter, and we look forward to seeing you guys in the future. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.